Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Dear viewers, welcome to the show Muharram Q&A here exclusively on Wilayah TV. I'm your host Muzaffar Abbas Hyder, and here in the studio we have with us Sheikh Ali. Sheikh Ali, Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Our condolences to everyone, all of the noble viewers on these days of mourning and grief. Now, when I was growing up, I used to get confused about the Battle of Karbala. Because when you see a battle taking place in movies, you'll always see that there's one side of good guys and one side of bad guys, and they will meet as one, as like two, bodies of people.
And they would clash.
Yeah, they would clash as huge groups of people. But then when they're narrating about the tragedy of Karbala, they always take it one person at a time. And I used to think, because we have a different day in the 10 days of Muharram, we have a different day for each personality. So I used to think maybe this person died on this day, this person died on this day, this person reached martyrdom on this day. How long did the Battle of Karbala actually take? And did they fight one-on-one? If so, why?
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Karbala, the land of the martyrs, the land of the ushaq, the land of the lovers. The incident of Karbala, if you look at and evaluate it, it's something that shows you the height of love, deep love, passion. It's a climax of sacrifice. The land of Karbala and those who went to Karbala with Imam Hussain alayhi salam, they were those select few who were truly, deeply in love with not just Imam Hussain alayhi salam, but even the Lord of Hussain alayhi salam. It was all about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They melted themselves in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Subhanallah.
Now, this whole event and this whole incident, it has a zahir, it has a apparent details, right? And then it has a batin.
Mm-hmm.
It has something that is behind the scenes. Although the zahir is not very beautiful, there's bloodshed, there are severed bodies, they were looting the camps, they're like shooting arrows, swords. It's not a beautiful scene to watch. But the batin of it is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
It's something remarkable. If one gets to this batin of Karbala, if someone gets to this, the inner reality of Karbala,
Mm-hmm.
the behind the scenes of Karbala, they cannot help but become ashik, a deep lover of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Your question, how long did the battle last? It's very interesting that many people actually don't know this historic reality, that the battle, the real battle of Karbala, actually started after the Namaz al-Subh, which is the Salatul Fajr, on the 10th of Muharram. They were there, the camps were there for all these days. Imam was doing ibadat there, Imam Hussain alayhi salam, his comrades, his companions, all day, all night long. Even on the 9th of Muharram, the night of 10th, before the Fajr of 10th, all night long there were the sounds of recitation of Holy Quran coming from the camps of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. Even the women of Ahlul Bayt, even the wives and the daughters of Imam Hussain alayhi salam, they were all busy in worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. On the other hand, the army of Yazid, they were just busy in mischief making.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they did, and that's what they do even today. This whole thing started after the Fajr on the 10th of Muharram, and Imam Hussain alayhi salam knew that today is that day. A night before, he talked to his companions and he explained to them that tomorrow is that day. Tomorrow is that big day about which the Prophet of Allah had informed us. It's happening. And any one of you, if you want to leave, I guarantee your Jannah, because you have come all the way with me up until now.
Allahu Akbar.
If you want to leave for whatever reason, I set you free. You are free human beings. Just go. And I guarantee your high rank in Jannah. And that's where he lit off the lamp. The Imam, after lighting the lamp back on, found out that nobody left.
Allahu Akbar.
So these are the kinds of people we are talking about. They were all martyred from the sunrise, from right after the sunrise till the Maghrib, till right before Maghrib.
Really?
One day.
Uh-huh.
These people.
So it was actually an entire day from
Yes.
Fajr, from
Yes.
sunrise to sunset.
To sunset.
Dear viewers, we're going to continue with this discussion, inshallah, but after a short break. We'll see you after the break, inshallah.
This is Karbala, and every pebble and every grain of soil has been smeared with blood of good men. Goodness was slaughtered in this land. This land has witnessed a day that has made the cosmos age from grief. How much capacity does a day, or better yet a heart, have? How can a lady not only lose her loved one, but have everything she has in this world taken from her? Not just taken, but torn away, piece by piece, bit by bit. It is the night of the event, as Zainab has put a tremendous tragedy behind her, though this is just the beginning of the journey. Zainab was left with the orphans, with the widows, and with her frail and ill Imam, any of which could bring the strongest men to their knees. But Zainab was more mighty than any man history had ever seen. She was the daughter of Ali, and this relation was enough for those sinful people to understand how she was able to stand before them and deliver such a glorious and splendid sermon. Perhaps that is why God called her the beauty of her father. The beauty of Ali stood in front of the seemingly victorious court and humiliated them and deemed them worthless. If the words of Ali come from the lips of a woman, they can even reduce the enemies to tears. This lady's prophecy has just begun. She must now go from one halting place to another and let the world know of her brother's tale. She must let the world know of Hussein everywhere she goes. Speak, my lady, we are all ears, and we are all with you every step of the way.
Welcome back to the show, dear viewers. So before the break we discussed how long the Battle of Karbala actually took, and we mentioned that it was from sunrise to sunset, from Fajr to Maghrib.
Yes. Right before the sunset, this is where it ended.
Uh-huh.
So it's just one day.
Okay.
In one day, so many lovers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the pure, pious lovers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they were martyred. Now, regarding the fight, your second half of the question, how did the fight happen? Was it a one-on-one fight, or was it a group fight where the two groups are clashing, the Yazidi forces and the Husseini forces from both sides, they clash? Well, you got to understand, back in the days in Arab culture, because generally speaking, they cherished bravery, even in that culture at that time, there were one-on-one fights between the bravest of your clan, whoever is the bravest, whoever is your, hero of your, he's strong, he's mighty, he has the skills of fighting a battle. They would come to the battlefield and then they would say, is there anyone who can fight me?
Mm-hmm.
And then from the other side, they would send their counterpart, and they would have like a fight. So this is initially, because it was the Arab culture, one-on-one fight took place. But interestingly, there were 3 group attacks that were made on Imam Hussein alayhi salam and his camps and his troops by the Yazidis as one group 3 times. So 2 of those attacks, they were actually carried out during the daytime before Zohar. Okay, and the Yazidi forces, they just suddenly attacked Imam Hussein alayhi salam's camp, which was very precise. If you compare, they were outnumbered.
Right.
Yazidi forces were like they were huge, so they attacked the camps of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. But the companions of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, who were brave and courageous lions, they defended this camp.
I've never heard
so
of it.
2 of these attacks, they failed.
They fought back and they actually pushed back the forces,
Yes,
because if they're
yes.
fighting together, they're
Exactly. And the loss in those 2 attacks was for the Yazidi forces. Imam Hussein alayhi salam's force was, and especially his son of Imam Ali alayhi salam, his war strategies. Even with this very small set of people and set of fighters, in which there are, by the way, youth, there are elderly people, there are people like Habib ibn Mazahir, who is like, according to some narrations, above 80 years. Some propose 90 years. He's an old man,
Allah.
right? Salamullah alayha. Salamullah alayhi. But look at this. They fought bravely. They defended Imam Hussein alayhi salam, and they defended this camp of righteousness. They pushed back the Yazidi forces twice, not even once. Then, after Zohar, and there was one attack that started right before Zohar, and it lasted till Asr. Okay, Salatul Zohar till Asr. So they attacked Imam Hussein alayhi salam and his camps before Zohar, and it lasted till Asr. This was the 3rd attempt that they made as a group, and in this attempt, majority of the Imam's companions were martyred. In this particular attempt, there were majority who were martyred by the Yazidi forces. According to many historians, and they have written it very clearly, that it's the same force that defended themselves during the day, like earlier part of the day. What happened? Well, it was the thirst. It was the thirst. It was the weariness. It was the scorching heat of the sun. No food, no water. Because the Yazidi forces, they're not there to fight a fair war, a battle. They're cowards. They turned off, they shut down the water for Imam Hussein alayhi salam, somebody who gave them water to begin with. When Imam Hussein alayhi salam got there, and you have, I'm sure, heard about it, that Imam gave the thirsty troop of Yazid water because they were thirsty. Because we, like I said before, we have principles of war, right? We cannot turn off water. And you see the same thing with Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, I believe in Safin.
Same thing happened, yeah.
Right? This is where, we have a battle of principles. We're not going to trample over our principles just to have a very temporary victory. So this 3rd attack, this is where the majority of the companions, the loyal companions of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, were martyred. And one of the things was they were outnumbered. The Yazidi forces kept growing. They kept recruiting
I think it's because of the Hollywoodization of battles and the way that we view medieval warfare. We just think that, these 2 groups, they're going to go and fight each other, but actually there's loads of emotions in the mix.
Exactly.
People are scared. The Syrians, the Kufans, they're going to be a little bit intimidated by the forces of Imam Hussein. They're probably telling each other, you go and hit him, you go and hit him, you go and fight.
Undoubtedly, when Imam was fighting, nobody wanted to come close to him.
Allah, right.
There's so many of them that Imam single-handedly sent to hell. They were like crushed. Anybody who came close to Imam was something else. You talk about Hazrat Abbas, you talk about Hazrat Ali Akbar, you talk about Hazrat Qasim, you talk about John, you talk about Hur. These guys, these companions of Imam, they were outstanding. Because their heart was in this cause. They had nothing to lose. They knew that this life is temporary. They knew that why they're doing it. Like I said, they had become the lovers, the proper and pure lovers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So because of this thirst, because of the physical weariness. At the end of the day, all of them were human beings, right? And being outnumbered, they were martyred. The physical exhaustion took them up finally. But rest assured, each one of the companions of Imam Hussein alayhi salam that got martyred in Karbala, he made sure that he sends too many of them to hell before he gives his life. It was not
shame,
that they did not fight
right.
back.
We always present this argument. This idea of Imam Hussein alayhi salam and the other Imams as being madloom, and they were, without a doubt, they were madloom, but they fought a good fight, and I think we often overlook that.
Right.
They were fighters.
As the leader of the Islamic Ummah said, that we are mazloom like Imam Ali alayhi salam, but we are also qawi like Imam Ali alayhi salam. He was the strongest man on the earth, right? He defended Islam from the jaws and the claws of the killers and the tyrants of the time. So we do the same thing. We are mazloom.
We don't have much time left, but I just want to just share this thought. There's this attempt and this move to try and prove to the world that Islam is a peaceful religion. We're a peaceful religion. If I were to ask you which animal is peaceful, you'd probably say a dove, right? What would you think of? A doe? A female deer? I don't know.
Like a pigeon.
But Imam Ali, our Mawla, is described as a lion. That is not a peaceful animal. That is a heroic animal.
Well, that's true. See, the thing is, the concept of peace and war in Islam, it doesn't really exist. The real concept is the submission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We are at peace with everyone. Why? Because we submit to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And for those who we fight against, we fight it for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? It's not for the sake of fighting, because there are some people who are just warriors. They have to fight someone, one way or the other,
right.
So they come up with reasons. No. For us in Islam, it's all about principles. We want this earth and we want this world to be a better place to live for all the Mazlumeen, for all the oppressed. We don't want oppressors to be oppressing the oppressed, and we don't want oppressed to be taking the oppression and receiving it without having to do anything. It's just illogical. So we stand with the oppressed, and we stand against the oppressors, right? So it's not so much about fighting a war or being peaceful and portraying and pretending that we are peaceful, or portraying and pretending that we are warriors. No. We are human beings who submit to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and who care for other human beings. If a human being is being oppressed, we will support them no matter where they are.
That's all we have time for today, dear viewers. We hope that you enjoyed the show. Sheikh Ali, I'd like to thank you again for being on the show. It's been an honor and a pleasure to have you here. If you'd like to follow us, you can do so on Twitter or WhatsApp. You can see the details coming up on the screen right now. And from myself, I'd like to bid you Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.